Most cities develop like weeds, wild and unplanned, but this place is different. It was envisioned on a piece of paper before the first stone was laid. This isn't just a city in America, it's a city that represents America. How can a place without skyscrapers possess the most impressive skyline in the modern world? Today, we're going to unveil the secrets of Washington, District of Columbia. We're going to explore the secrets buried within the neoclassical marble and the iron will that keeps it running. If you want to understand how power is built, maintained, and manifested, sign up now, because we're about to step into the heart of this machine. In 1790, the founders of the United States realized that if the capital sat within a state, that state would hold too much leverage. They needed a neutral ground, a federal district that answered to no one but the people's representatives. They chose the banks of the Potomac River, a site that was geographically central to the young nation. This was a strategic move, bridging the gap between the industrial North and the agrarian South. It was named after George Washington, the man who led the Revolution, and the territory was called Columbia. This name invoked a poetic, feminine personification of the Americas, suggesting a divine mission. Have you ever considered how much of your identity is tied to the ground beneath your feet? For this city, identity was a prerequisite, not an afterthought. The vision for the city was grand, perhaps even arrogant. Pierre L'Enfant, a French-born architect, looked at the mud and saw a new Rome. He didn't want narrow, winding streets that felt crowded and claustrophobic. Instead, he designed wide avenues that radiated from the United States Capitol like the rays of a sun. He wanted grand vistas where the eye could travel for miles without obstruction. This was a geometry of control, intended to reflect the transparency and order of a republic. But every grand vision has a shadow. Much of this majestic city was built through the labor of enslaved people, a dark irony for a place dedicated to liberty. Does a foundation built on such a massive contradiction ever truly settle? The land itself was carved from Maryland and Virginia, a gift of earth to create a vacuum of power. But the young capital was fragile, nearly ending before it truly began. In 1814, during the War of 1812, British forces marched into the city and set it ablaze. The White House and the Capitol were reduced to charred shells, their smoke visible for miles. It was a moment of absolute vulnerability, a turning point that could have led to the city's abandonment. Instead, it became a symbol of resilience as the structures were rebuilt even larger than before. In 1846, a significant change occurred when the land south of the Potomac was returned to Virginia. This event, known as retrocession, gave Alexandria back to the state and left the district with its current shape. Why do we often wait for a tragedy before we decide to build something permanent? The fire didn't kill the city, it forged it. The American Civil War changed the city forever, transforming it from a sleepy town into a fortress of the Union. Thousands of people flooded into the district, seeking protection and opportunity. Abraham Lincoln signed the Compensated Emancipation Act here in 1862, months before the rest of the country saw similar progress. This made Washington a beacon for African Americans seeking a new life and a new voice. By the end of the century, the city underwent a massive modernization project. Old canals were filled, streets were paved, and the modern infrastructure of a world power began to emerge. Yet, for all its influence, the city's residents found themselves in a strange political limbo. They lived at the heart of a democracy, but lacked the right to vote for the people who governed them. How can a city dictate the laws of a nation while its own citizens are silenced? This question birthed the Home Rule Act of 1973, giving the city its own mayor and council. But even today, the struggle continues, as the movement for statehood remains a fierce and debated topic. Washington is a place where the local and the global are constantly at war. The residents walk the same streets as diplomats and presidents, yet their worlds rarely collide. It is a city of two halves, one made of marble and the other made of brick and bone. One half manages the world, while the other simply tries to survive the rent. Is it possible for a city to be a home when it is also a monument? Washington sits in the mid-Atlantic, a place where the air is often thick with humidity and history. The Potomac River serves as its lifeline, a wide and silver ribbon that separates the district from Virginia. To the north and east, the rolling hills of Maryland provide a lush green border. Within the city itself, Rock Creek Park offers a massive, wild sanctuary for those who need to escape the political noise. Almost every resident lives within a short walk of a park or a green space. This connection to nature was intentional, a way to balance the rigid lines of the urban plan. The city is divided into 4 quadrants, with the United States Capitol at the very center. Do you find comfort in a world that is perfectly organized, or does the symmetry feel like a cage? The climate here is a force to be reckoned with, shifting from one extreme to another. The summers are notorious, characterized by a heavy, stifling heat that seems to trap the city in a fever dream. In the winter, the air turns sharp and cold, occasionally bringing massive blizzards that shut down the government. But the spring brings a transformation that is famous around the world. The cherry blossoms, a gift from Japan in 1912, explode in a sea of pink and white around the tidal basin. It is a brief, fragile moment of beauty that contrasts with the stone-cold nature of the surrounding buildings. Nature has a way of reminding us that even the most powerful institutions are subject to the seasons. What is more permanent, a marble monument or the cycle of a blooming tree? The architecture of Washington is a lesson in restraint and symbolic power. There are no soaring glass towers here because of strict height limits imposed over a century ago. This ensures that the monuments remain the tallest structures dominating the horizon. The neoclassical style, with its white columns and grand domes, is meant to evoke the ancient democracies of Greece and Rome. The White House sits as a modest but iconic residence of the executive, while the Washington Monument pierces the sky as a tribute to the first president. Modernist structures like the Watergate complex add a sharp, controversial contrast to the traditional aesthetic. Every building is a statement of intent, a physical manifestation of a philosophy. If you were to build a house to represent your soul, would it be made of glass or granite? The population of Washington is nearing 700,000, and it is a mosaic of human experience. For decades, it was known as the Chocolate City because of its vibrant and influential African-American majority. This culture gave the city its soul, its music, and its resilience. However, in recent years, the city has become increasingly multicultural and affluent. People from every corner of the globe come here to work in embassies, non-profits, and international organizations. This influx has brought energy and wealth, but it has also led to gentrification and the displacement of long-term residents. The city is a living, breathing organism, constantly shedding its old skin for something new. Can a city retain its heart when its face is changing so rapidly? The economy of Washington is anchored by the most powerful employer on earth, the federal government. A massive portion of the workforce is dedicated to the machinery of the state, from high-ranking officials to administrative staff. But the city is more than just a government town. It is a hub for think tanks, lobbyists, and global financial institutions like the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. In the private sector, technology and defense contracting are booming industries. This makes Washington one of the most stable and influential economic centers in the United States. Money here isn't just about profit, it's about influence and the ability to shape the future. Would you rather have $1 billion or the ear of the person who controls the budget?
Starting right here.
Tourism is the lifeblood that connects the city to the rest of the world. Millions of people descend on the National Mall every year, walking the long path between the Lincoln Memorial and the Capitol. They come to witness the sites where history was made, where Martin Luther King Jr. gave his most famous speech. The monuments are not just stone, they are vessels for the national narrative. Embassies from nearly every nation line the streets of Northwest Washington, making it a global stage for diplomacy. When you stand in front of the Lincoln Memorial, you are not just looking at a statue, you are looking at a mirror of the nation's struggle. Why do we feel the need to build such massive tributes to men who were, in reality, just as flawed as we are? The arts and music scene in Washington is a hidden gem that often gets overshadowed by politics. The John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts is a massive temple to human creativity, hosting world-class opera, ballet, and theater. But the city's true rhythm can be found in its history of jazz, particularly along U Street. This was the home of Duke Ellington, a man who redefined American music. Washington also birthed go-go music, a high-energy, percussion-heavy genre that is unique to the district. It is a sound that belongs to the streets, a defiant and joyful expression of local identity. In a city that often feels curated and sterile, this raw energy is a vital sign of life. What is the soundtrack of your own life, and does it reflect where you come from? The culinary scene in Washington is a global table, offering a taste of every culture represented in the city. Because of its large immigrant populations, you can find the best Ethiopian food in the country here. You can also find the iconic half-smoke, a spicy sausage that is a staple of local flavor. Historic spots like Ben's Chili Bowl have served everyone from local students to presidents and civil rights leaders. The food here is a bridge between the different worlds that coexist within the city limits. It is where the diplomat and the construction worker might sit at the same counter. If food is the universal language, what story is a city telling when its most famous dish is a simple, spicy hot dog? The Smithsonian Institution is the crown jewel of the city's intellectual landscape. It is the world's largest museum, education, and research complex, and most of its galleries are free to the public. From the Wright brothers' plane to the Star-Spangled Banner, the Smithsonian preserves the artifacts of the human journey. The National Mall is lined with these institutions, creating a knowledge capital that is accessible to everyone. This commitment to public education is a rare and beautiful thing in a world that often puts a price on information. It suggests that history and science belong to everyone, not just those who can afford it. If you had one day to learn everything about your ancestors, where would you start? Every landmark in this city tells a story of sacrifice and idealism. The Vietnam Veterans Memorial, with its simple black granite wall, is a haunting reminder of the cost of war. The Jefferson Memorial, reflected in the waters of the tidal basin, speaks to the intellectual foundations of the Republic. These sites are gathering places for protest, celebration, and mourning. They are the spots where the nation comes to talk to itself. Washington is a city of symbols, where every statue and every street name has a purpose. It is a place that demands you pay attention to the past while you look toward the future. Do we build monuments to remember the dead, or to remind the living of what we are capable of? As we look at the evolution of Washington, District of Columbia, we see a city that is constantly reinventing itself. It is a place of immense power and deep contradictions. It is a city of grand designs and humble neighborhoods. It is a place where history is not just studied, but actively created every single day. The lesson Washington teaches us is that nothing happens by accident. Power is a choice, and the structures we build to house it will outlast us all. But more importantly, it reminds us that even in a world of giants and monuments, it is the people who give a city its heart. Power without people is just cold stone. If this journey through the heart of the American capital moved you, then don't let the story end here. There are so many more places to explore and so many more secrets to uncover. Every city has a soul, and we are on a mission to find them all. You have the power to support this journey with a simple click. Subscribe to the channel and join our community of thinkers and explorers. Hit the like button if you learned something new today, and share this video with someone who loves history as much as you do. Thank you for watching. See you in the next story.